why I love this movie, and it comes down to really one thing. I love the fact that the guy who played Abraham Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the main villain, and he has a scene where Liam Neeson rams his truck and knocks over this guy in a car down the fucking mountain. Okay? Like, his car just flips down a mountain. Okay? Yeah. And he survives with no injuries.
Oh, Black Widow style.
Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. I remember watching the movie, I'm looking at Lauren, like, did that guy really fucking survive? Because there's no way anyone would survive that. But yeah, he does a bunch of flips in his car down a mountain. We're not talking a hill here. We're not talking a ditch. We're talking a fucking mountain.
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Cottage, and my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
Top 5 episode ever, top 10 worst.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like our list is not exactly top 5 or top 10. Well, yours is top 10, but mine is 6 of each, which I have fun names for them because why not? You know. So welcome. We're on episode 235, and kind of in keeping with our yearly tradition, even though it's late this year, which, you know, screw you if it matters. But we're breaking down our year in review. So last week we looked at kind of just a bird's eye or high level view, if you will, of the year that was 2021 and all the horrible shit that happened. And some good things, but a lot of horrible shit.
A lot of sex perverts.
Yeah, a lot of sex perverts. I gotta say, John, like I was talking to Lauren, my wife, about like your categories, and we were both cracking up over what would you call it, the list of canceled sex perverts and
canceled
weirdos.
And sex perverts.
Yeah. And we were like, we can't do one about COVID deniers or anti-vaxxers because that list is too long, and we'd be here all day. But anyway, this week we are looking at our picks for best and worst movies of 2021. So I have John, you have your top 10s, right? Your top worst and top best, right?
Yeah. And
I have what I'm referring to as my superior 6 and my sinister 6. So Marvel, please don't sue me. But I'm calling it my sinister 6 movies of the worst and my superior 6 of the best. So John, how did you kind of formulate your list?
Well, as usual, I saw a disturbing amount of films, and I actually tried to keep track all year. Now, I saw a lot more.
How did you keep track? Did you break out an Excel spreadsheet or something like that? Like were you like all mathematical about this?
Sort of. I usually just keep track of every movie that I see in a year that it came out that year, and I usually do it like a 1 out of 10 rating. And the worst movies of the year list was like very easy to do. It just kind of, as the year went on, it's like, oh, there's another one.
It always is. Some of them you don't even have to see the movie. Like I'll be the first to say, and this is not on my list because I didn't see it. I only put ones that I did see, but I didn't see Venom Carnage. So there's no reason for me to put it on there, but I know it's bad. Like I knew the first Venom was bad. And when I eventually did see it, I'm like, yeah, the poster art does enough.
Well, yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know if that's going to be on my list or nothing.
Yeah,
but
it'll be on your list.
But yeah, so I did end up coming up with because I just don't want everybody to think that I'm a complete douchey snob. And
you're not. Come on, you're not a film twa.
But at the same time, I did include a couple of documentaries that people might not have seen. So I have top 15, but like I said, I'm going to breeze through 15 to 10. You know, I'm just going to be like, here's a movie. And like, oh, cool. Yeah. You know, but yeah, so I see an abnormal amount of movies, and here we are.
You've always seen an abnormal amount of movies. Like, like the first time we did our top of, whatever it was, top best and worst of whatever the year, you were like, yeah, I see like a movie like once a week. I'm like, how do you have the time? Like, I don't know how you have the time. I mean, maybe it's because the majority of them now are on streaming, so it's no big deal. But like back in the day when we first started the podcast, you're like, yeah, I go to the theater once a week. I'm like, how do you have the time? Man, good for you. I mean, you work at a theater now, so like literally for you, it's like, well, I'm on my lunch break, or I'm like, I'm gonna hop into this one and see what it is, or I'll just stay a little bit after work and watch another movie. But yeah, I don't have the time for that. All right. So, do you want to start us off, or do you want me to start off?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Do you want to rock paper scissors for it virtually?
Shall I do worst and best, or best and worst?
I think what you need to do is you need to go, because worst is always more fun. Let's start with best. It's true. Okay. Worst is always more fun. Trash in a movie is always better than like singing its praises.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. So top 15 here. I feel like Dave Letterman. Yeah. And the top 10 reasons President Clinton. No. All right. Hey, Paul. Yeah. All right. Number 15 is, even though it's playing fast and loose with history, is Spencer, the Princess Diana movie.
I didn't see that one yet.
It was like one of the few things I'll say about it is that it was one of the few like really good movies that came out around that time, because I think it was like last like April or something, where it's just like nothing of quality was coming out. It's like in between like the first like 9 Marvel movies in the last 12.
Yeah.
Speaking of, number 14, Spider-Man, No Way Home. Fucking loved this movie. Enjoyed it.
These are best, right? Or worst?
Best.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to say like, okay, these are best.
Yeah.
I was like, why did I think you put on your worst? I'm like, that's not a bad one. Okay, but yeah, Spider-Man was amazing.
Yeah, it's not Shang Plop and the 95 necklaces or.
Oh, come on! Now you're just being mean.
Extremities or whatever the other one was called. I don't know.
Let's just call it what it is. The Mandarin movie. Like that's
the Mandarin movie.
That's what it is. But it's
rated NC-17. Yeah.
That kind of movie, huh?
God damn, Marvel, you going for it? But yeah, Spider-Man. I got a soft spot for old Spider-Man in the first place, but they hit everything there, and obviously the member berries like gave me a big old member berry boner. Like, member Toby.
I was gonna say, did you like go into the movie theater bathroom and member splooge?
Oh yeah. Member Doc Ock. Oh fuck.
All over the theater.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll clean that up.
Grab a bucket. Yeah. Number 13, I have, and if you don't like Shakespeare, this won't be for you, is The Tragedy of Macbeth.
I started that one. I got about halfway through, and maybe it was because of the time I watched it. I mean, I liked what I saw, but I was like really starting to fall asleep. I think it was because of the time I watched it.
and I don't blame some people for being like, why? Because it literally is just Macbeth.
It's totally Macbeth. It's shot beautifully. Like, I have to say, cinematography wise, it is amazing. And it's in that same realm of movies that opt to go black and white, but they don't just do it for bullshit reasons. They actually do it for aesthetic reasons, and they actually do it because it fits with it. And like there was the same thing with The Lighthouse when I watched that, and I'm like, why the hell do they go black and white? but it makes sense for the story you're trying to tell. And again, like I can't say that I watched the whole thing because I didn't. I'm being honest with the audience. I didn't. I watched it on Apple TV Plus, and I was like, it was late at night. I'm like, I'm falling asleep. But from what I saw, it was beautifully shot. And I was starting into it, but again, the time of the day just caused me to fall asleep. I'm going to have to revisit it again because it did look really good.
Well, there's no surprises if you know the story.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you could Wikipedia this shit and just be like, oh, that's what happens in the story. Yeah, there's no spoilers. Sorry. Lady Macbeth is horrible. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
She's really bad.
She kind of sucks balls, but
she sucks balls in every version. That's kind of it.
Yeah, it's kind of her thing.
It's kind of her thing.
Lady Mix ballsuck.
Ew, gross.
And from looking from my notes, I think it's called Roadrunner, but I have as Anthony Bourdain doc for number 12. I think it's called Roadrunner. Yeah. Probably should have actually looked up the actual title.
I haven't seen that one. I saw it advertised, I just haven't got a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies that come out nowadays. It's kind of crazy. Even amidst the pandemic, like it's to find one to watch all the time is tough.
Well, it's crazy to think like, in 2020 when it was like nothing came
Slim
out.
Pickens.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, the Impractical Jokers movie is going to win Best Picture of the Year. Like that's how awful 2020 was.
It's like Tiger King will win Best Documentary series. No.
Yeah. Number 11, and this is, I think, the most polarizing movie of the year, Don't Look Up.
I loved that movie. Like, I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. I got it. And I think you got it too, because we share a very similar sense of humor. But I don't get why people were so up their ass about it.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably do a whole episode on it.
But why do you think? Why do you think people got all up their ass about it? Because I really don't understand.
I think for some it hit a little too home, and I think then therefore the satire was lost on some people. But I did see something online of being where it's not good satire because it is a comet that we are not responsible for, that's going to kill all of us, that, it's harder to invest in a repercussion of something that we did not do when it's a conversation about us.
I get that, but like from my perspective, like I got it mainly because the comet, and this is basically, if you haven't seen the movie, sorry I'm going to spoil it for you, but the comet is basically a parable for climate change.
Yeah.
But the way I looked at it was kind of in more of a macro sense, in the sense that this is our reaction to everything. Like anything that is horrible that happens, whether it's in our control or out of our control, this is our reaction now, okay? And that was the for me at least, what I got out of it. And like I remember Laura and I were watching it, and we were just like, this is literally like play by play what happened with the pandemic. Like right there. It's right there for you. It's denial, and then it is partial acceptance, then failure, then denial again, then partial acceptance. It's a complete cycle, and the end result is nothing ever gets done. There are no solutions, and the solutions that are given end up hurting people rather than helping people. And like that's what I got. Now the satire work? The satire worked for me because it literally was from my standpoint 100% on point with the way we actually act. Now, my guess is that people saw it as they're making fun of things that are way more real than they should be. Like we look at satirical films, and they're always in a sense of being kind of outside or like not hyper real, but almost like inflated beyond reality. Like I'm thinking about like RoboCop 2. You know how they were having those like TV commercials like in the middle of it, and they clearly are satire of real commercials in reality, but they're so far removed. I'm thinking about like that one with the blue chick who's like putting on the sunscreen that's blue that's supposed to protect her from like the ozone being depleted, because in that universe the ozone's depleted to the point where like people have to wear like crazy amounts of sunscreen that makes her skin blue. But like that's satire that I think is more palatable because you don't see that when you turn on the news. Like the stuff you were seeing in Don't Look Up literally was the same stuff you'd see on the news.
Yeah. I love any reference to RoboCop 2.
Yeah,
Kane.
Kane.
But yeah, and I think you're right. I think it does hit too close to home. And I mean, there is such a thing as clapter, which Jon Stewart talked about. Like, you don't want to just be like saying things that just cause your audience who already believes what you're talking about just to clap. Like, hey, Trump sucks. Yay! You know, it's you want to actually challenge some of the views people have on things. And, you know, and the idea is like, oh, is the only people watching this like Leonardo DiCaprio fans and liberals? Like, is this the only people? And they're just going, I knew that, you know?
Yeah. No, I love the movie. I thought it was great.
It is scary, actually.
It's very
how
scary.
real it is. Yeah.
That's why I loved it, because it's like this is you could call this documentary if you wanted to. Like, it's literally play by play what would happen with any disaster. But yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. Top 10. All right, so number 10, and this is up for best documentary, so it's out there to check out, especially if people have like the Showtime, whatever the hell it's called, Showtime Plus. I don't know.
Showtime Plus does a thing like this.
Whatever the hell, they call it. Is Attica. It's a documentary on one of the worst prisons in the history of the world.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody's seen Dog Day Afternoon, they know what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of documentaries that came out this year about historical moments, and it's like, wouldn't you know it, everything is rooted in racism, and this is one of those.
Yeah, pretty much. We can't teach that in schools. Not allowed to anymore.
Critical race theory.
Yeah. I was at my in-laws, my sister-in-law's house yesterday, and we don't have cable because we've abandoned that a long time ago. But like, you go to a place that has cable and they've got the TV going, and it's like, what's on the news? And you go to the next commercial, and it was some douchebag running for governor who's like, critical race theory is starting our school. It's going to turn everyone into racist. Like, oh my God. This is why I don't have cable.
And for all of you out there listening, which is not really our audience, but
no, it's not.
If you are out there and you do think that elementary schools are teaching critical race theory, let me explain to you that critical race theory is something that is taught in law school.
Yeah.
And it's hard to contemplate for law students. This is not being taught in your kid's third grade class.
No, it's not indoctrination. It is called reality. That's what it's called. It's called using the history part and actually like saying this is the reality. That's the same thing. Like, I don't want to get into a long thing because this is not that kind of show. But I mean, you all know kind of our point of views. So, you know, there you go.
Right. Well, on that topic, speaking of documentaries about racism and Black history, is Summer of Soul. My voice cracked there a little bit, but yeah, it's a documentary from Questlove. It's about the Harlem Woodstock, and if the audience is like, "Hey, I never heard of that," well, there's a reason. Yeah. And it's about like contextualizing the musical event from 1969 in context of like of what was going on in the world and everything like that. And it's also just, it's an easy watch too. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just, you know, if people are looking for documentaries to watch, it's not like on, you know, Amazon Tree Frogs. Like it's entertaining. So I would check that one out. And the first like fictional film here is The Last Duel, which no one saw.
I didn't see it yet. I'm terrible.
Well, as I mentioned a couple episodes back, Ridley Scott being like, I didn't see it because they're all on the face box.
Yeah, old man yelling at the sky.
Yeah. He still makes a decent movie, even though he's kind of an idiot. I
don't get Ridley Scott because the man does things like that, but then he'll make a great series like Raised by Wolves. Have you watched that at all?
No.
Oh man, it's on
Sounds
HBO
intriguing.
Max.
Yeah.
It's on HBO Max. It's fantastic. Like Lauren and I started it. And I'm like, why does this guy have to do shit like this? Why does he say stupid stuff like that and make crap alien movies, but then at the same time make stuff like Raised by Wolves and as I said, the Last Duel I haven't seen, but I've seen reviews of it and they've been very good.
Yeah. So they want to get on the Twittergram. But
no, dude, it's called, unfortunately, the industry is made for children. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's it.
Well, what was great about it was I'm like, oh, this is actually like a very entertaining, like, historical epic. But then it's like you get it from 3 different perspectives.
Really?
And the last one is because it's about, a woman accusing Adam Driver's character of rape. Mm-hmm. And then the last story that you hear is from the woman's perspective. And as the film openly calls it, like, and this is the actual truth.
So it's kind of like the ending of Clue?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Without the silliness?
And then Colonel Mustard raped Miss Scarlet.
Horrible.
So getting like the movie from those different percent, I'm like, oh, this actually elevated this like in a way because I just randomly threw it on HBO Max and I'm like, oh, this is all right. And I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of pretty fantastic.
I'll have to check it out. Lauren and I are a tough sell on medieval stuff, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's hard for me to kind of get into that kind of stuff myself.
Like everyone's told me I should watch Game of Thrones, and I'm like, I have not got on the Game of Thrones train, and I know that I have to. I know it's like you have to watch it. Like there's so many good seasons, except for the last one. Don't watch the last one. But we haven't gotten on the Game of Thrones train yet.
Neither have I. Like I feel like we're losing our nerd card, Brian. Neither of us have watched Game of Thrones.
Listen, we are not losing our nerd card. We got so much nerd jizz in us. Like it is crazy. Okay, we got Batman, Star Wars, Marvel shit. There's enough nerd jizz there. Okay,
and we just opined about RoboCop 2.
There you go. We are not losing this nerd card. We're not losing the nerd card.
My one buddy growing up was like, man, I wish I could have tried Nuke. I'm like, I think you missed the point of the movie.
No, you don't want to try Nuke. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
Number 7, I think a movie that not enough people heard about. Pig. The Nicolas Cage movie. Pig.
It's hard to find a good one from him because like but amongst all the Cage films, it's kind of like a box of chocolate, Yeah. They're all crazy flavors, but whenever you're gonna find one that's like a really good crazy flavor, because amongst that you've also got like Willy's Wonderland, which I didn't see, but Shudder tells me I have to watch it. And Mandy, and I don't know whether the crazy ass ones that he's made, but like it's I guess it's hard to find a good one nowadays, a good Cage film.
Well, and it's like it's not a Nick Cage performance, like, and I know a lot of people like kind of didn't see this, who actually even saw the trailer, because most people didn't even see that, was because in the trailer Nick Cage is, I'm looking for my pig, and they thought, oh, this is gonna be
like, a Cage film.
This is gonna be Taken, but with the pig instead of a kid,
or is it gonna be like John Wick?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no,
the pig.
It's actually just like this meditation on like grief and loss, and it's like, the director pick Nick Cage, and like Nick is so actually like subdued in it and thoughtful. It's like, oh, this is a guy who won an Academy Award. He is capable of not being crazy.
That's the thing, man. Like people forget that he did win an Academy Award. He's not a bad actor. He just is crazy. I think he's crazy.
Yeah. I think I heard somewhere that like, and this could be complete and utter bullshit, but that like he's like an alcoholic and he purposely just picks every single movie that comes across to him because he's like, if I'm constantly working, then I don't think about drinking. Now that could be complete fabrication. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think my fear for him is that he ends up becoming kind of like the John Travoltas and Bruce Willises, who have just kind of seen their career turn into garbage, because I think he is talented. I mean, and you can tell that he doesn't like phone it in ever.
Yeah.
That's one thing Nick Cage does not do. He does not phone in performances.
Yeah. You don't want to end up like John Travolta, like a bloated swamp rat.
Oh God. Oh God. All right. What else you got?
Number 6, Nightmare Alley.
Which was really good.
Might be one of the more approachable movies on the list. Just brilliant noir, brilliant pacing, brilliant like movie coming full circle. I don't, it's hard to talk about some of these movies because I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing performances. It almost feels like 3 movies in one. So
It does.
So I'd absolutely check this out. If you have HBO Max, if you pay for it, or if your friend has it and you got their login.
I think it's also on Hulu as well.
Okay.
I think it was a weird one that, because every once in a while, like a movie will get released on like 2 different platforms. Like I saw, it was weird. The other day I was looking, Free Guy was on HBO Max and it was on Disney Plus. So it's like somehow they got both release rights. So whatever. But yeah, Nightmare Alley, I watched it last weekend, and man, it made me really miss noir films. Like really miss that gritty film noir type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it has that complete feel. Like it has that time setting feel, and like the movie opens up with like the what did I just see? That kind of whole noir, like what am I looking at kind of thing. So and I never thought Bradley Cooper was like a real actor, but he is, so good for him.
I never thought he was a real actor, until now. I thought he was just a raccoon voice.
I mean, in fairness, I should say in the last like 6 years. So I've given the man the benefit of the doubt over the past like half a decade. But at first I was like, Bradley Cooper.
No, he's got some acting chops. I mean, he definitely does. I mean, come on, to be the guy who's the voice behind Rocket Raccoon for a bunch of movies. I mean, come on, you gotta be able to break out of yourself for that one, and that's what an actor does, is they break out from themselves.
Yeah. And I gotta hand it to him; it does not sound like him at all when he's Rocket. So
no, it doesn't.
Number 5 here. So top 5. Final Account, which is a movie I guarantee almost nobody listening to this has heard of.
I didn't hear of it.
It's about the remaining Germans who either lived through Nazi-occupied Germany, either as children or as adults or as guards, or so it wasn't even like those that survived the Holocaust, but those who lived through it on the other end.
Yeah.
And fascinating how like some of them refuse to believe that it even happened, and it's like it's frustrating at first, but then you realize,
is it a documentary?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah. And like it's frustrating but then you think like, oh, they can't come to terms with the nightmare of their history. No,
that's definitely part of it. I mean, I have never met anyone who is like that, but I have heard of people who have, again, just refused to believe that horrible atrocity ever existed, and it boggles my mind. So I'm like, you can't just. I mean, it's one of those things that the people who live through that, they can't reconcile with the horribleness.
Yeah.
And that they would be partially responsible.
And I wasn't surprised too, because the movie theater that I went to see it was the smallest of the theater that they had available, and I was one of 3 people in it. I'm like, yeah, no one's gonna come and see this.
You're like, no one's gonna see. No one's gonna see this movie.
And I got like nachos and a large soda. I'm like, this is probably not a good snack movie.
I was gonna say that's not really this is not the kind of nacho and soda snack.
I was hungry, damn it. But
you're like, oh, Holocaust, yummy. Look at this cheese and jalapenos are great. not appropriate.
But yeah, if you can find it out there, I don't know if it's streaming because I saw it in the theater, and this is this movie came out like April or so of last year.
Yeah.
But if you can find it, I would check it out. It's a slog. It's not the most thrilling documentary ever, and it's in German. So
yeah, so it's one of those things.
Yeah. Number 4, The Lost Daughter, Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial debut.
It was good.
Very, very, very good.
I think Lauren's watched that and she liked it. I think that has Olivia Colman in it, right?
Yep. Yeah. She's the star of it, and I like the flipping of the script of somebody who is an incredibly flawed character in a way that usually men are portrayed, but as a woman, and not in a positive way, not kind of being like, women could suck too, like, what about white pride? Nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just, but just showing that like a mother can be a dismissive parent. So,
yeah.
And kind of it's one of them artsy fartsy movies, dear listeners. So it's a long journey of somebody who has had a lot of problems in their lives as a parent and as a person, kind of dealing with the aftermath of something like that. So enjoy that.
Enjoy that.
But yeah, it's not a feel good movie of the year. But number 3, The Worst Person in the World. It's it's one of them Fern movies.
Fern.
And it's probably one of the most honest explorations of relationships of the 21st century, and also somebody who is what's the word I'm looking for? Self-destructive. That's what I was looking for. For the longest time before they find who they really are. I had heard about this, like, being like, oh, you should check this out. It's like nominated for best foreign film of the year. It's good stuff. I'm like, go check it out, whatever. And I was like, oh no, this is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
So number 2 here, I have Power of the Dog. No kind of surprise there. Boopa Snoop Cumberbot.
Every single one of these days, you know what you're going to do? You're going to actually say his name correct, and I'm going to be shocked beyond compare.
Bippity boop clobber patch? Yeah.
Yeah. You're just going to one day be like, Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm going to be like, what? No witty nickname?
Stephen Strange gives a great performance.
With non-magic this time around.
Yeah.
And Lou using acting magic.
Acting. And if the less you know going into it, I actually would say the better, because like I just heard like, oh, this movie's really good, so I threw it on, and I'm like, oh, it just seems kind of like a modern day Western, because it seems like it's like 1885, but it's actually like the 1920s.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Western. These people are just ranchers, and it takes it to about the middle of the second act to be like, oh, I see what this movie is actually about. So I don't mean to be vague, but I don't want to give anything too far away, but I would, definitely check that movie out. Definitely. And number 1 for me was Belfast.
Okay.
And this movie by, Kenneth Branagh, black and white film, it felt like French New Wave to me. and about an exploration of Belfast Island during the Protestant Catholic nightmare that they all went through, and people who were just not involved either way on it, just discussing whether or not they're going to stay where they grew up and lived during this Civil War. And it's a character study and exploration at the same time that it's about this underlying issue of a country changing in the worst way possible. It's very incredible and very moving. A lot of it may seem meandering to people who aren't used to just like movies about characters just living their lives. But it never loses that focus of this is the underlying issue behind all of this that is going on. So if you want some movies like The 400 Blows and other Godard type of movies, I would suggest seeing Belfast. That's my number one of the year.
Nice. Yeah. Good picks. You want me to jump to my best ones? My superior 6?
Hell yeah.
Okay. So mine are, I'll say these are all ones that I've seen. So I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest with the audience. A lot of yours, John, I haven't seen. But that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
For me, and these are in no real order. I don't have number 10 or number 10 like that. It's really just no order. So first one on my list, and this is a guilty pleasure. Okay, this is totally a guilty pleasure. And reviewers would say this is a terrible film, but I loved it, and that is Liam Neeson's The Ice Road.
Oh,
Did you see it? Did you see it?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So there was, I think it was probably during the summer, Lauren and I were literally just, and this happens all the time, we're just like looking for something to watch, and we had just finished Unhinged, and we loved Unhinged, which if you have not seen Unhinged, it is probably Russell Crowe's most true-to-life performance as of late. John, have you seen Unhinged?
Oh, so it's just about a fat, middle-aged, angry man?
That's my point.
You did tell me about it.
It is.
I should have seen it because the way you described it, it's unbelievable.
I had to look it up because I wanted to put it as one of my favorites for 2021, but unfortunately it came out in 2020, so I couldn't include it. But Unhinged is balls to the wall bonkers and crazy, and Ice Road is the same, only this time it's Liam Neeson. And it's so crazy because Liam Neeson, he plays a trucker on the ice road, and he in Manitoba there's an explosion that happens at a mine that traps 26 miners, and apparently Liam Neeson and his brother, who's an Iraq War veteran who's got PTSD, and it's not very well displayed, I'm going to be honest with you on here. It's not the best acting, but they get contracted by the mining company to deliver the necessary stuff to rescue the miners from asphyxiation. But they have to go on the ice road. Unfortunately, it's at the time when the ice is melting, so they're the only ones, and it's a race against time. And then on top of that, there's shit going on with the mining company, and the mining company sends someone to stop the delivery because if they deliver it, then the miners will be telling them that the mining company has been doing nefarious things. It's a crazy fucking movie. Why I love this movie, and it comes down to really one thing. I love the fact that the guy who played Abraham Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is the main villain, and he has a scene where Liam Neeson rams his truck and knocks over this guy in a car down the fucking mountain. Okay? His car does flips down a mountain. Okay? Yeah. And he survives with no injuries.
Oh, Black Widow style.
Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. I remember watching the movie, I'm looking at Lauren, like, did that guy really fucking survive? Because there's no way anyone would survive that. But yeah, he does a bunch of flips in his car down a mountain. We're not talking a hill here. We're not talking a ditch. We're talking a fucking mountain, and he survives. And I'm like, oh, this movie's amazing. But it's classic Liam Neeson at his best. It is a fun watch. Is it the most riveting story? No, not really. And they kill off Lawrence Fishburne well too early. He's in this too. Yeah, they all needed money.
Larry.
Yeah. It's honestly, I loved it. I love this movie. It's one that's stuck in my mind. I'm like, this is a great film. It's a good watch. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it. But it's hilarious. I was cracking up the whole time. Probably not what you want in this movie, but that's my first one on this list.
See, now I got to see it. So
now you got to see it. You got to see Ice Road. Next up, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Okay. Now, John, how did you feel about Ghostbusters Afterlife? Were you conflicted?
it was. I thought it was an overly sentimental Easter egg of like, remember Ghostbusters? I didn't
Wasn't
hate it.
Spider-Man the same way?
Yeah, but Spider-Man is one of those things that's always going to exist. This never needed to. It's like, remember elderly Ghostbusters? Contractually obligated.
Remember the fact that Harold Ramis is dead because Bill Murray wouldn't agree to do a Ghostbusters movie, and this is the ultimate thing that we get for 20 years of waiting?
Remember CGI Harold Ramis because he dead?
Because Bill Murray refused to sign on to the Ghostbusters because he wanted to do more Wes Anderson movies.
Remember how we did Tale of Two Kitties? Garfield.
Remember he chose Garfield over Ghostbusters because he hated Harold Ramis that much because of Groundhog's Day? Yeah, those are all true, by the way. I mean, at least the disliking of Harold Ramis because of Groundhog's Day. But the whole point is, like, for me at least, I thought that this was probably, if you're going to have a Ghostbusters movie, and going to have a continuation of that story from 1989, this is the best you're going to get. And that's okay. Do I think it did its job? Yes. Okay. I was pretty much locked in the whole time, like, you know what, this isn't bad. And honestly, it was one of the first times that I was like, you don't really need the original Ghostbusters in this. And when they showed up at the end, I was like, oh, that's a nice icing on the cake. You know? Did it retread a lot of stuff? Totally did. But then again, so did Force Awakens. And the way I kind of viewed this movie is the same way I viewed Force Awakens. It's a palate cleanser because nobody really liked the 2016 Ghostbusters. It has not aged well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It didn't age well right when it came out.
Well, I mean, there were people out there who were like, well, yeah, why can't we? Why you should like the 2016 Ghostbusters because it's got lady Ghostbusters. It's like, okay, well, that's not the problem. I don't care if there's female Ghostbusters. McKenna Grace is in this movie, and she's a girl, and she's a Ghostbuster too. I don't care about that. It's just called Afterlife has a better story than 2016's Ghostbusters does. You can't tell me that they're on the same level because they aren't.
If anybody who's coming after us from what Brian just said, that is actually a underage girl. So Brian didn't call a grown woman a girl. She's a child. She's a child.
That's why I called her a girl, because she is a child.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it. But my point is just that, you know, one is for me at least, the Ghostbusters Afterlife, even though it does have the background of, you know, dealing with ghosts and the legacy of the Ghostbusters, a lot of it is about family and kind of what happens with you know, kind of the disillusion of the Ghostbusters and the family that, you know, Egon Spengler had. And kind of resolving that. Now, you could say that's a common Hollywood trope, and it is, but I felt it did what needed to be done. And it also makes sense because of the fact that Ivan Reitman's son made this movie. So it's like, that makes sense to me. So I mean, it made sense to me on that sense.
Yeah. And, well, rest in peace, Ivan Reitman, who has died since this movie came out. But, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll have to agree to disagree on that.
That's okay, dude. That's okay. You don't have to agree with all my movies. So next up, I have Batman Long Halloween Part 1 and 2.
Oh,
Watch this.
good one. Yeah, God, I forgot about that. I did watch that, and I forgot to even catalog it. Yeah, no, fucking great.
This is fucking... So I love DC animated movies. I'll be the first to say it. I love DC animated movies. I watched... I think this was probably about 2 weeks ago. I watched this one, and then I also watched Injustice. And Injustice was good. It was procedural, but it was pretty much what I thought you would get out of that video game. And I didn't play that video game, but I know the premise of it. But I loved Long Halloween, and it was a great adaptation. It did make some changes here and there, but it made changes that I felt made sense for an adaptation into a film. And the fact that it was broken into 2 parts gave enough time for the characters in the film. So if you're not familiar with Long Halloween, it is in essence a retelling of how Harvey Dent became Two-Face. That's in essence the main plot of it, and it details kind of the transition of Batman dealing with the mob and dealing with taking down the mob to dealing with these more super villains, his rogues gallery, if you will. So characters like the Two-Face and Joker and Scarecrow and these characters that we kind of align with Batman. It's a transition between dealing with the mob and dealing with them. And it does a hell of a job with it. I thought the writing was great. I thought the animation was spot on for that style. And there was a lot to it that I really appreciated. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on HBO Max. It's really, really good. And it's an easy watch, too. It's not one that you have to know everything about the Batman to know. It's just one of these movies that just, you turn it on, and you're just like, man, this is really good for it. Why can't they make a film version of this? That would be nice, like a live action one.
Yeah, it's not like too deep into the story where it's like, Alfred's talking to Batman like, remember when you had AIDS? And it's like, wait, what? Yeah, when did that happen?
Yeah, when did that happen?
You should have been reading the comics. No, it's none of that.
No, you don't really need to know that. You just kind of, everyone kind of, for the most part, knows these characters, but like the dynamics between them will line up a lot once you kind of watch it. And the whole premise of it is really just Batman taking down this killer called Holiday, who kills people during the certain holidays, and all of it kind of is tied to Harvey Dent and the mob, Carmine Falcone, and Sal Maroni, and all these characters that we all know about, and it all leads up to him becoming Two-Face. But it's great film.
Except not Arbor Day, the best.
Not Arbor Day. He didn't do anything with Arbor Day. I figured that one would come in there. Yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home, next one on my list, makes sense. Come on. It's Spider-Man. It's all 3 of them in a movie, and it not really just being kind of a, hey, look, we put this in. It's actually like, it makes sense for the story. I saw this with my daughter, her first movie that she actually sat through and didn't fall asleep in. That was great. And on top of that, she didn't cry in the middle of the theater, which she had done when we saw Eternals, but I understood why she cried because Eternals sucked. But we loved it. We had a good time. A great story. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and it honestly revived my love of Marvel because I saw Eternals in the theater and thought, we got nothing left after this one.
Yeah.
Next up on my list is Dune.
Ooh, Dune fan.
I'm a Dune fan. Okay. Yeah. So I was worried about this movie just because I had seen reviews that were coming up kind of right before this came out. And they're like, the problem with Dune is it's too slow. And the problem with Dune is that there's no acting. And I'm just like, fucking shut up. And then I watched it and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was going to be hard for me, because I am also a fan of the David Lynch Dune, that it was going to be too serious, but it was honestly, it made it more mature. Like, I felt that it kind of clarified some things, and I'm glad that they broke it into two parts. You saw Dune, right?
Oh, yeah. And I hate to say it, but I actually like the David Lynch version more. We check our archives, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we did cover it.
But yeah, I was like, I'm thinking to myself while watching, I'm like, I kind of saw this already by David Lynch, but it just was like less clean and less expensive.
Yeah.
So when I was watching it. So
now the visual effects in Dune, if that movie doesn't win a fucking Academy Award for VFX, I don't get it. Like, I really don't. I don't get it. Because they did amazing things. They filmed on location. I forget what location they filmed in, but I know they filmed in the desert. And Denis Villeneuve, he always has a tendency to make these very hyper real VFX sequences, and it was fantastic seeing the ornithopters and just how Arrakis was kind of set up. I thought it was great. Love the film. I can't wait for part 2. Can't wait, because I know what happens in it, but I want to see what are they going to do with it. The spice melange. I am glad that there was no let's have inner monologue, because after watching 2021's Dune and then watching David Lynch, I'm like, man, I really hate that inner monologue. It's great, but at the same time, it's annoying after a while.
I feel that like the first go around taught all the audience of like, you better like do your homework before you come to see this movie.
Well, you don't really need to do your homework with Dune. I mean, I really think that if you just go in and just kind of take it in as it comes, that you'll understand it. And that's partially because they did try to stick closer to the book than they did with Lynch. With Lynch, they tried to explain too much, and that's the problem, is when you try to explain too much, it ends up becoming confusing. It's the same issue that the Avengers Endgame had with trying to explain time travel. Like, that's why there's 5 scenes in that movie that try to explain it so that the audience gets it. Like, I was literally waiting for Hulk to just look at the audience and go, all right, this is time travel, folks, and then break back into the scene. But they didn't do that with Dune. They just kind of said, all right, we're going to play it out, and the audience will get it or they won't, and then they'll just watch it again. But I think the audience, for the most part, got the story.
Yeah, and I mean, well, the original Dune came out like right around Star Wars, which is pretty obvious. Guy gets a laser sword, tries to kill his dad. There's your story. Dune is a little bit more complex.
Yes, it is. It is totally more complex. There's a lot of depth to that, and it's good sci-fi when it does weave in a lot of reality in it too, and that's what Dune does. Deals with things like climate change, with colonialization, a lot of different things in there to unpack. And final one on my list, and this one is one that I found because I follow this person on Instagram, and that is Jacob's Wife on Shudder. Did you see this movie at all?
No.
So Jacob's Wife.
Was my
Yeah. So I found this movie because I follow Barbara Crampton on Instagram. Barbara Crampton is a scream queen from the good old days of the 1980s and early 90s. She is known for such films as Reanimator and The Beyond. Yeah, The Beyond. She's great. And there were 2 movies that came out with her in it this year. One was called House Guest, I think it was called House Guest or The Guest. And no, it wasn't The Guest. It was Superhost. That was it. Which was hilarious.
Yeah, come on, Brian.
I'm trying to remember this stuff off the top of my head. Okay, dude. Yeah, one was called Superhost, and I love that one. And this one, Jacob's Wife, came out well before it. So Jacob's Wife is about Barbara Crampton's character, who is married to a small town minister, and she feels that her life has kind of like been shrinking away for like years, like 30 years of marriage, because she just lives in a small town. She doesn't do much of anything. Her identity is just basically being married to her husband, Jacob. And she gets wind that her ex-boyfriend from like high school has come to town, and they kind of like, agree to meet up, and they end up going to some abandoned, it's a abandoned factory. I don't know how they end up there. I haven't seen it since it came out. But while they were in that abandoned area, she gets bitten by the master vampire that has basically started to infest the town. And she basically dies and becomes a vampire. And the movie is really more or less about kind of her getting her life back a little bit. And that's also with dealing with Jacob, the pastor, the husband, realizing that his wife's a vampire and kind of trying to cover up the fact she's a vampire. It sounds silly, and I thought it was going to be silly, but I really, really liked it. Like, I liked the performances that you get out of Barbara Crampton, and I'm going to butcher his name, but Larry Fessenden, who plays Jacob. It's a good film. It's an indie film, and I mean, honestly, it's by director Travis Stevens. I'll link to it in the show notes because it's one that I definitely like. If you're looking for a good vampire movie, this one's really actually pretty good. But it's on Shudder.
CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk's in it.
Yeah.
He's not bad. But I really liked it. And critics actually liked it too. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 86%, which that's pretty good for an indie film.
Yeah.
But no, this was a really good film. I really liked it. It was fun. It was great to see Barbara Crampton in movies because I hadn't really seen a bunch of her films. And then I watched this, and then I watched Superhost, which Superhost you should see just because it's hilarious. It's basically about a woman who has like her house. She does like one of those Airbnb things, and she's crazy. So and Barbara Crampton shows up in that as well. But that's a good film too. It's a good film too. So those are my best ones, my superior 6, if you will.
Yeah, I gotta check out a couple of those.
Yeah, you gotta check them out.
Yeah.
All right, John, you want to take us into your bad movies?
Time for the Turd Birds.
The Turd Birds.
Honorary mention for number 11 is Spiral, a Saw story.
You and I almost saw that together.
Yeah.
And I backed out.
Yeah. And it's like, it wasn't even fun bad. It was just, they tried to like pare down Saw and make it more like thoughtful, but they just made it boring. So, but yeah, number 10 here is Old, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I don't
know. The premise got me alone, and I'm like, I don't know. He made Split. Maybe this might be not that bad. And it's everything that you would expect from an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like, interesting premise. The man cannot write human beings. The dialogue is insane. The premise falls apart, and then there is a stupid twist ending.
Of course,
that you
there's
want to
fucking twist ending.
Yeah, you want to like pull your soul out of your butthole, because it's like, oh my god, and he's in it. Yeah, obviously he's got his Hitchcockian cameo.
You're not Hitchcock, dude. I'm sorry. You're not. Hitchcock was a piece of shit human being, but the man made good movies. Like, you don't.
He thinks like one time Steven Spielberg like butt fucked Hitchcock, and then Hitchcock had a butt baby, and it was him.
It's horrible.
Oh,
gross.
Good evening.
Gross.
Good evening.
Gross.
But yeah, I will say this, I will tell you, dear audience, if it's a bad movie and whether you should check it out because it's fun. Like, I would watch Old with a couple of friends with a couple of drinks. It's funny.
That kind of movie.
Yeah, it's funny. It is fun to watch. It's not one of those like slogs. Like this isn't even fun. This is just awful.
Okay, it's not a brain movie. I think is what you're saying.
No, God, no. It's watching a man. It's like watching an alien or like one of those machines like write a script. Like like we put in 1,000 different things into a bot, and this is the script it came up with. That's this movie.
Okay. What else you got?
Number 9, this shameless, disgusting movie, Cruella, with Emma Stone.
I didn't hate that. I mean, it's a kids movie.
It's an obnoxious music video, and of trying to make me care about a woman who murders puppies.
Not in this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know if this is supposed to be like an alternate reality.
It's some alternate reality where she's the hero because you have to do that.
Yeah, she's not a puppy murderer.
No,
I guess. Like of all their villains, like couldn't we gotten a story where we find out like why Gaston's like father was cruel to him or something? Why he's such a dick?
Yeah. I think it's called Disney's run out of ideas for their main characters. Like, well, we did all these animated movies where we didn't really we reanimated them digitally and with computers like The Lion King and all these other ones. And it's like, well, now we gotta like do that with our villains. So we're gonna have a Maleficent movie. Yeah, she's not that bad. And then we're going to have a Cruella movie, and then we'll have a Gaston movie, and we'll do a Hitler movie too,
Yeah. Adolf. That's what they call it, yeah.
He's just a punk rocker.
I just wanted to make my paintings.
It's horrible.
Oh, yeah, and you got to have, like, the politically correct stuff in there. So Adolf, is going to, like, befriend a bohemian gay dude. Normally, I'd want you to go to a camp, but you're okay. Thanks, 80.
It's horrible. Oh, God. This is why our show's explicit, by the way. Yeah, it's terrible. God,
hey, Anne Frank, I'm sorry. No worries, 80.
And then the soundtrack is nothing but, like, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Or
Jojo Rabbit.
Or it's Billie Holiday.
Yeah. Jojo Rabbit. It's like the German Beatles. Like
oh, God. Oh, shit. All right. What else you got, John?
Oh, Hitler in a sexy gown. Yeah.
I've opened a Pandora's box, haven't I?
We're going to make this movie. God damn it.
No, we're not. I'm not making
Adolf.
that. I'm not putting my name on that. That'd be in the same realm as directing porn.
I am Hitler. Like the end of the Cruella trailer.
No, please don't. What else you got, John?
Hey, feel free to check out my YouTube channel where I have Hitler Goes Hawaiian.
No, you don't.
Yes, I made a poster for it and everything.
Oh, God.
Chaos Walking, the proof that if he's not Spider-Man, he can't make a good movie.
Yeah, that was the only thing I know about that one is because Film Riot did a tutorial on how to do that whole like goofy like chromatic aberration around his brain thing. That was it. That has Daisy Ridley in it too.
Yeah. So we got Star Wars and Spider-Man. So between the two of them, there's like $80 billion in box office or whatever. Dear audience, if you do not know, this is a movie where it's like only men exist in this future, and you can hear everyone's thoughts, and see their thoughts, and then like
that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. Men's thoughts, goddamn. But then a woman like crash lands on this planet, and they're like, boobs, and
basically
that's the movie.
That's the movie.
Your number. I would say this one is bad. Like this one isn't worth watching. Yeah, even with a couple of drinks and friends. Like, so I would avoid Chaos Walking. Number 7, the third Conjuring movie. The devil made me do it.
That was terrible.
Yeah,
that was terrible. I tried to give The Conjuring like a go. Like I tried to give it a go, and I that was bad.
Yeah. Well, I hate any movie about a bunch of flim-flam, carnival-barking child molesters, allegedly, which is what Lorraine and Ed are.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean,
didn't know that.
They're complete frauds, and he loved having sex with underage children. So,
Gross. Gross.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So we don't get
allegedly, yeah. But yeah, this one, wow. The franchise has fallen apart. Because the first one was semi-entertaining. The second one was like stupid, but kind of. This one was just boring.
Just boring. Yeah, it was boring. I felt it was boring too.
Yeah. Number 6, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Way to kill a franchise on the first go.
This is what happens when all these studios try to take something stupid and make it serious. Like this, I call this like the Power Rangers effect, where they try to like rationalize Power Rangers and make it like grounded and thought, I'm like, guys, it's Power Rangers. Just own it.
Yeah.
Like when Mortal Kombat opens in like feudal Japan and like with this like family being slaughtered, I'm like, guys, this is the game where you smack a bunch of buttons and like knock someone's skeleton out from their body. Like,
to be fair, like they're doing this because of the Mortal Kombat YouTube series that was popular because it took the franchise serious. That's the reasoning behind it. Did it equal a good movie? No. Why? Because the movie is called Mortal Kombat, and there is no Mortal Kombat. The tournament doesn't happen in the movie. Like,
why would you want a Mortal Kombat?
So it's just called Training Combat, because that's literally what the movie is. It's not Mortal Kombat. That doesn't ring off the tongue as well as Mortal Kombat does. But yeah, you're right. Like, they tried to make it too serious. They added a new character that was not in any of the games. Then tried to like say, okay, yeah, he's related to, Scorpion, which is everyone's favorite, or Sub-Zero, either like one or the other.
Same character.
Different color. But yeah, like it was not that great, and it kind of was like, it's all right. Like here's the thing: is that movie was like Power Rangers, designed to kind of attract new audiences. So like my stepson liked it. I didn't like it. But then again, I'm not the audience that's trying to attract.
To a degree, I mean, the whole fact of Scorpion saying, get over here when he doesn't speak English. Like they're obviously trying to appeal to us. I feel like it's one of those movies for people that between the ages of like 35 and 45, like, oh, don't worry. The things you liked growing up weren't stupid. Like, here's a thoughtful version of it.
Here's the things. I have no problem admitting that some of the shit I liked was stupid. We had literally this thing called Street Sharks back in the day.
Street Sharks.
And it's a dumbass fucking thing. So, yeah, it's totally stupid. And I'll be the first to say, the toys were awesome, but the concept is stupid. But it's okay, because it was the 90s, man. And we had a lot of goofy shit. We had Surge, okay, which literally was a drink that probably has the same level of upper in you as heroin, okay, in terms of caffeine.
Oh, man, I still can't believe I survived the Surge Wars.
The Surge Wars, yes.
It was a dark time.
When you were told that Yellow 5 would shrink your penis as a kid. Like, it was a thing. But
didn't they take it on the market because like kids were getting blind or something?
There were so many different urban legends about Surge. I just remember like I was in like 3rd grade, and they're like, yeah, if you drink Surge or Mountain Dew, your penis is going to shrink because of Yellow 5. It's like, but Yellow 5's in everything. It's only Surge. But yeah,
the problem is guys that drink Mountain Dew on a daily basis already have a tiny dick. They wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's true. All right. What else you got?
All right. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the episode, Venom 2,
Electric Boogaloo. Carnage's Boogaloo.
Carnage's guy. Is that what it was called? Or like,
yeah.
Hey, here comes
guy.
Carnage, or yeah.
Here comes a heartburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I did not see it, but I don't need to because the first one sucked balls. This one has to suck balls, right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, if you check our archives, you'll notice that the first Venom movie was on my top 10 worst movies.
It was.
Of the year. But this one, I will say to its credit, it seemed like it leaned into knowing that it was shit.
So it didn't try to take itself seriously?
Yeah, no, I'm not at all. And like, it didn't lean into the fact, it's not like Tommy Wiseau making a movie where he knows what he is. Like, it's still wanted to take itself seriously to a degree, but
yeah,
I mean, there's a point where Venom just leaves Eddie Brock's body and goes and does like improv comedy, and it's just like
then I might have to see it now just for that.
I'm like, oh, okay, like yeah, they at least are leaning into this.
I mean, that's fine.
Crap. Yeah,
that probably makes it more entertaining.
Yeah. So right. Yeah, I would say Venom 2 is worth watching with a couple of drinks. All right. Number 4, F9.
Oh, fuck.
The Fast Saga, I believe, is the.
I forgot that came out.
And as anybody knows, I only saw this because I was challenged to watch the first 8, which I've never seen in a row, which I did. I'm like, well, they made a 9th one. I guess I gotta go check it out.
Yeah,
and it was everything that I thought it would be. And I don't know how these guys went from.
Do they still have the secret lair?
Oh yeah. It's like they're like Batcave.
They're not Batman.
Yeah.
They're not Batman. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not. The Rock is never going to be Batman. I'm sorry. So.
Oh yeah, The Rock wasn't in this one. He decided he's too
not.
Big. He's too big
for it.
Well, also he and Vin Diesel hate each other for some reason. So
why are they comparing like muscles and baldness?
I think so. He's gonna. I'm the big bald action star, and Rock's like, no, I'm the big bald action star. So it's just yeah.
That just caused my like Siri, my Apple Watch to go
off. But yeah, I can't believe these guys started like illegal street racers, and now they're basically like SWAT team superheroes. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I'd love to be in the pitch room on that one.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
When the first movie came out, they said, "Oh, by the 9th one, we're gonna have Charlize Theron in a Hannibal Lecter cube."
Really?
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. But
terrible.
Number 3, Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong. I didn't even bother to look which name came first.
I'm not a big fan of the giant monster like type of thing. Like I know everyone like loses their shit over Kong and Godzilla. I never really got into it. Never really got into that.
Me neither. Like I saw like a handful of Godzilla movies growing up because like late night you couldn't really miss them. Totally. You know, they were free to throw on.
Yeah.
Late night cable. But yeah, it was not really my thing. I was never a huge Godzilla guy. But I'm like, well, you know, it's a tentpole kind of movie. Yeah. I'll go check it out. Maybe it'll have like some fun special effects. Didn't even have that. It is the most ludicrously stupid movie I've ever seen in my life, and I'm so grateful that the end of the movie was so loud because I was laughing my ass off, and thankfully nobody could hear me like hysterically laughing at the movie because of all the loud music and explosions and stuff. I
mean, that's what you got to do, right? If it's terrible, just throw loud music and explosions, and you're good.
Yeah. Oh, and you know, for all those people complaining about Man of Steel. Yeah. And all the death, like, yeah, Kong and Godzilla are just absolutely destroying a city, fighting each other. I'm like, how many people are dying here?
I'm pretty sure that would count as almost a semi-extinction level event.
Yeah. And hey, guys, center of the Earth will not have sunlight, you fucking idiots.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, they go to... That's where all the monsters are from. So they go to, like, Monster City in the center of the Earth.
Monster City.
It's brilliantly lit. It's perfectly sunlit in the center of the fucking Earth.
I mean, that's not how light works, but okay. Okay, movie. Yeah. You do you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what else you got, John?
Number 2 here. We're getting to the top 2.
Getting to the top 2.
The Fightin' 2. And we reviewed this for the show. Army of the Dead. With Dave Bautista.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sounded like you wanted to like fight it for a second. You're
wanted to like it. I wanted to like it. And I didn't hate it. Like here's the thing, and I think we said this in the review, that we both found it entertaining. Like, I was entertained, at least. I don't know about you, John. I found it entertaining. But am I going to, like, watch it again? No.
Yeah.
No.
It was stupid. I was entertaining the fact that it was stupid.
Stupid entertainment. That's literally what it was.
Yeah, this is perfect for a handful of friends and drinks. So
yes, it is a great one for that.
And I remember this was early last year, so it was like still like theaters weren't really a thing.
I think this was June. I think this was June-ish.
Oh God, was it the summertime?
I think it was. I guess early June.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, oh, a new movie came out. Who cares if it's shit? It's got Dave Bautista in it. Whatever. Okay.
He plays a father trying to connect with his daughter, who's a dick.
Yeah. I mean, Dave.
And she screws up the whole fucking plan.
Yeah. Dave Bautista is great when he's like the 5th or 6th most important character in the movie, not when he's the star. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, stay as Drax, man. You're doing a great job as Drax.
Yeah. And number one, which might be possibly the worst movie of all time. I don't know if I want to go that far, but and we reviewed it, so check it out in the archives. Space Jam, LeBron Legacy.
I knew it. I knew it. Yeah. Yeah, that one is an abomination, if I've ever heard of it. A cinematic abortion, if you will. That really just, if you wanted to know exactly what is wrong with Hollywood, just watch that movie.
This is an encapsulation of it, yeah.
It is total, literal view of what is the fucking problem with Hollywood. Right there.
It's like watching LeBron's butt abortion.
It needs no reason to exist. There's no reason for that movie to exist. No one asked for a Space Jam 2. Ever.
Yeah. And it doesn't even take place in space.
No. You can't call it a Space Jam.
Cyberspace. Go fuck yourself.
That's not the same. Not the same. Not the same. And honestly, it kind of cheapened Cheadle's career.
Don Cheadle, yeah.
Don Cheadle. It cheapened his career because of that movie. Like, I thought his high was playing Captain Planet in the Captain Planet Kills Everyone YouTube series from Funny or Die from years ago. That was a high for him. But no. Space Jam 2 has cheapened his career.
And it doesn't even make any sense. Like, sometimes like, oh, I want to be in like a big blockbuster movie. Like, he's fucking War Machine. He doesn't even have an excuse.
That's it. Yeah. You don't need to. You were in Boogie Nights. You were fantastic in Boogie Nights. You've done a great job as an actor, and you've done some really amazing roles. And you do Algae Rhythm.
It's got to be weird when you make Hotel to Rwanda and you make a movie about genocide and you're brilliant in it, and then Space Jam. I know not back to back. These 17 years apart, but just like Space Jam 2 comes across your desk and go, I have to make this movie.
Yeah. Like I don't get it, because I think that is the most grating part of the entire movie. It's not LeBron James. I mean, I don't expect much from LeBron James other than to he plays basketball, but I'm not expecting him to be a killer actor. He just ended up being the worst actor in the whole movie. But like Don Cheadle, he actually is an actor and is really good. And he does this. Oh, it just hurt. It hurt to watch. That was a painful, painful film to watch. And I dreaded watching it almost as much as I dread Neil Breen films when you send them to me. But this was horrible, horrible film. Should not exist. And honestly, shame on Warner Brothers for even thinking that this would be a good idea. And spending money on it.
Oh, yeah. It's weird that it almost seemed like the Looney Tunes were phoning it in, and they're not real. They can't phone it in. They're not real.
How the Looney Tunes phone it
in? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's bad. All right.
Do not watch this if you haven't watched it. Do not encourage Warner Brothers.
No.
Yeah, it is piss awful.
No.
Yeah, I'd rather
All right.
drink my own piss, but yes.
All right, here's my list, and you
Okay.
you stole a couple from me.
Okay.
So, all right. So, bottom of mine, Coming to America.
Coming number 2.
Number
America.
2.
Yeah.
To America. Not the first one. The first one's fantastic. But yeah, Coming number 2 to America. I tried to like it for nostalgia reasons. Then it rolled around in my head for about a day, and then I realized how stupid it fucking was.
I was gonna see it, and I never got around to it.
You
so
don't
you're
want to see
saying
it.
I don't
It
need
is-
to? Yeah.
You don't need to see it. The biggest thing is that they bring back a lot of people from the original, and it's just fucking stupid. It's really fucking stupid. It's like Eddie Murphy. Why? Why?
Yeah.
You
Haunted Mansion and this. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have, and we reviewed this one, Halloween Kills.
Oh yeah. I think.
Yeah, I
if
really
did
hated
my-
that movie.
I think if I did my top 15, then Halloween Kills would have made my list too. Yeah.
Yeah. Halloween Kills. Way to take a movie that was mediocre and make it really shitty again. And yeah, I mean, what's to say about this? We reviewed this movie. It was disappointing on my end, and it just made me scream at the screen how many times, like, Anthony Michael Hall is like, we take back the night and some shit. And I'm like,
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Yeah. And it's like, dude, why? It has a whole subplot that ultimately, like, is about how the town is fueling Michael Myers, and he's it's like, no, the man, it makes me frustrated trying to explain it. Okay. But yeah, Halloween Kills, that made my list.
I remember finding this movie very entertaining when I watched it in the theater, but then I went to bed that night and I went,
Yeah.
Oh no, this is horrible.
Yeah. Don't you love when that happens, when you watch a movie and your like first initial reaction is like, it's not that bad. And then like you're eating something like an hour later and you're just like, oh fuck, that was terrible. It's almost like when you get fast food that is salmonella. Like if you get a hamburger and it has salmonella, like at the time you eat it, you're like, this is pretty tasty. It was a good choice to go with the little bit of pink in the the Happy Meal today. But about an hour later, when the poop explosion happens, that's when you realize that it was a bad choice. And that's kind of like Halloween Kills.
It's not in the pink, it's in the stink.
Gross. Okay, next up, I have the Netflix movie Awake.
Oh, I do not know of this.
Oh, man. Okay, so in the middle of a pandemic, what's the one type of movie that you need to have? A movie about a virus that causes people to no longer sleep.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes. So the whole premise of this is that the world has been hit by a virus that causes everyone to no longer sleep, and they're all like losing their shit. And one kid apparently has the power to sleep, and there's like a whole bunch of shit about how like they're gonna try to take him and like dissect him, and it's so stupid. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's on Netflix, but Awake, it's this dumbass fucking premise. Really,
I mean, are people miserable because they can't sleep?
no, they
or-
just like if you're sleep deprived, you start to like go crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing, and like the whole world's gone fucking batshit nuts because they can't sleep.
I reached a point of 50 hours without sleep where my brain just stopped working.
Yeah. No, but that's like this.
Yeah.
That's like this. But imagine like you physically don't have the ability to sleep
Yikes.
because of a virus. So it's on paper it sounds good, but then it's like at the time you're releasing this, it's probably not good to have a movie about a virus that kills people at the same time as like a movie that causes people not to sleep. So yeah, it's just I mean that's part of the reason why, and then on top of that, it's just a dumb fucking movie.
Oh, I see it's on Netflix. I might have to check this out.
Yeah. No surprise here. Eternals. on my list. I hated that movie more I thought about it because it wasted my time.
Yeah, I've not seen it. That's the only Marvel movie I've not seen.
That is the biggest sin for this film, is that it wasted my time. And it was 100% a paint-by-number superhero film about characters I don't care about, with a plot that is so convoluted that you just keep asking yourself, why don't the Avengers show up? Like, that's honestly it. And it made me really question the future of Marvel. And like, I had seen articles come out right after it came out saying, should Marvel just like call it a day? like there were literally people saying, should Marvel just call it a day and just like pack it in, say we did a good job. But no, they had, Spider-Man No Way Home up their sleeve, but this one was really bad. I didn't hate Shang-Chi. I was entertained by it. It was kind of the same sort of thing, though, in that it was very paint by numbers, very formulaic, and Eternals was worse. I didn't care for any of these characters, especially when you realize that they're all robots. And then there's a scene at the end, which I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for you, but like, there's a scene at the end where who the fuck comes in? I forget the name of the person who does it. But yeah, you find out that Thanos had a brother who's also an Eternal. Which then makes you think that, okay, if his brother's an Eternal, then does that mean Thanos was an Eternal? And doesn't that mean that then he's a robot? So how could you cut off his head anyway? So yeah, there's a lot of weird shit in this movie, and it's not good. And it's very average, in terms of the movie. And it made my daughter cry while we were watching it. So, one, because she was like, it's so long. And she even says, like, that movie was really long, Daddy. Yeah. And yeah, it's the same sort of thing.
That should be on the poster. It made my daughter cry.
It made my daughter cry.
Brian Coddington. The Cinema Psycho Show.
Yeah. There's my review of it. It made my daughter cry. Not good tears, by the way. Yeah. And then we already talked about these two. These are my final two. Mortal Kombat, enough said. Another one that wasted my time. And again, I'm going to call this one training for tournament combat. Because that's what it is.
Training!
There is no tournament in it. And that's literally, the tournament's called Mortal Kombat. And that's not in there. Number one, same as you, John. Fucking Space Jam.
Here's your chance. Do your dance at the Space Jam, baby.
There was no need for that movie to exist. It made me angry watching it. And I haven't been that angry watching something since A Nightmare on Elm Street with, what's-his-face playing Freddy Krueger.
Rorschach?
Yes, Rorschach playing Freddy Krueger. That was the last time I was that angry at a movie. I wasn't even that angry at 2016 Ghostbusters. But sure enough, I was angry at Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was angry at Space Jam 2. It was really bad. And my kids liked it, but then again, it's made for people who are kids. It's not made for like people who have, thoughts in their brains.
I do feel though it is somewhat made for adults because it does have that member the first Space Jam member.
Yeah, but I really think this was made for children because children would be the only ones who would be like, "Oh, look, bright colors."
Yeah. Oh, look, Alex DeLarge is watching a basketball game. He's a rapist.
Yeah, that part right there was kind of terrifying there, that you've got Alex DeLarge and the Joker and like
Pennywise.
Pennywise the clown was. I'm like, okay. Okay. Whatever. I mean, I think when we reviewed it, we called it basically a commercial for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Look at all the characters we've got. We're going to throw them all on screen. Yeah, but that was, I hate that movie. So
Between
much.
this and Matrix, I think Warner Brothers hates itself. Because both movies are like, wow, Warner Brothers, you suck. Warner Brothers, are you okay?
Are you okay? Are you cool? Yeah. But that's my picks. My Sinister Six, if you will.
Well, I'm very glad we both had the number one worst movie of the year.
I mean, I kind of figured we would. That's a long one. That's a long one. Good picks though on both good and bad movies. We'll do this again next year.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen any of those, like on the good or bad side, check them out. Let us know what you thought, and let us know, please, if you agree or disagree with any of our good or bads. Like this is the perfect time for feedback.
Yes, please let us know. Like, honestly, we say this all the time, but like, let us know if you like our opinions or not. I mean, we don't need positive feedback. You can give us negative feedback. Like, you guys are a bunch of fucking chodes. It's like, okay, at least you care.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if you maybe you liked Space Jam 2. I maybe and explain to me why. Like, that's what I want to know is how. How?
Space Jam 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. All right, John, where can they find you at on the internets?
Bumble, Grindr, Snap. No. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think I'm easy to find. Just put in my name in there. And YouTube, J-Dubs Video Nasties. As I mentioned every week, please check that out. And if you like the videos, subscribe. It helps.
It does.
Don't just watch the videos. Subscribe. Thumbs up.
Yeah,
and
the algorithm.
Share
Algae rhythm will like it.
Yeah, do all the algae rhythm shit for me. I'll appreciate it very much.
You can find me at Brian Coddington. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network, epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw, or as I just said, if you agree or disagree with any of our top picks and worst picks for 2021, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. Be sure to subscribe or follow us wherever you listen to audio, and we will see you next time.
The only good thing about Space Jam 2, the soundtrack didn't have R. Kelly.
Wah, wah.